Melburnians like to think that their city is the home of sport. It plays host to the Australian Tennis Open, the Melbourne Cup and the Aussie Rules Grand Final. But perhaps the biggest of them all is the Boxing Day Ashes Test. And this is the MCG, where the action will take place.
The MCG is such a special sporting place, particularly I think for Victorian players, and how big the stadium is. And even walking in with no people here, you're hit by the size of it. It's massive. To get over 100,000 people in here is amazing. We nearly got 90,000 people here for the first day of the Ashes Tour 2006-07 when Warnie took his 700th Test wicket. One of the great things here is the Sports Museum, and obviously you see the history of Australian sport. The cricket assets are amazing. The Shane Warne presentation, you've got to see it to believe what he does there. So that's worth at least half a day when you come here to Melbourne. Then I think get into the CBD, and you've got Flinders Lane, which has got some great little restaurants, and we really appreciate our coffee and the cafes that Melbourne provides. You know, there's plenty of museums, the aquarium. If you like a little bit of a flutter, you've got the Crown Casino, which is outstanding. Obviously, if you like a punt, but if you like shopping and restaurants and movies and everything in that way and regard as well. Melbourne is one of the great sporting cities in the world because it doesn't matter what sport, we get a big crowd for it. We often say you could have a table tennis game here and put it in the middle of the MCG and you get 100,000 people. And I think it's just what we're born to do, and particularly in the winter when it can be a little bit cold, there's nothing like coming to sporting games, and I think that's, as Melbourneites, what we love doing.
So when England do win the Test by an innings and let's say around about 200 runs, which is bound to happen, where should you be going to celebrate? Well, the best place to start is here at Federation Square, the heartbeat of Melbourne. Just throw your sunscreen up in the air and the chances are it'll land on the great bar or club.
The scene of the bars and clubs in Melbourne is one that's about inside information. There's often doorways that are a little bit hard to find. They're usually down a laneway. The clubs are quite small and intimate, as well as some other larger ones. But the traditional way of the Melburnian sort of night out is to have a couple of glasses of wine, maybe a cocktail, and then go out to an underground spot that's not particularly unaccessible. It's just where the venue is. It's down a laneway, AC/DC lane, it's round the back corner, find a bit of graffiti and you'll be right.
So when you are in the Melbourne sunshine, remember to think of those poor people at home eating the reheated Christmas turkey, waiting for the damp squib that is New Year's Eve. And when you've done that, it's time to head for Sydney.